Today, what I'm talking about is how to shift our own unhealthy relationship behaviors. So the first thing I want to mention here is that if you have done some really deep thinking about your prior relationships, about relationships in general, about love, you may have come to the uncomfortable realization that you may have some unhealthy relationship behaviors yourself. Yeah. So again, this happens to the best of us. So my main point here is that if this is happening with you, if you're realizing that some of your behaviors are not where you want them to be, do not beat yourself up for this. This happens to the best of us. This happened to me too. I had to take a look at myself and realize that some of the things that I was doing were not where I wanted them to be. So let me know in the comments if you guys have experienced this yourself. If you've had this uncomfortable realization that, okay, there are some things that I need to shift about myself and my relationships. We talk a lot here about toxic relationships. We talk about abusive relationships, and we can go through lots of things like red flags, learning what makes someone emotionally unavailable, and we can start to read that stuff and see that stuff and go, ooh, okay, yeah, I can see myself doing this, and this. So again, do not beat yourself up for that. When we go through difficult and traumatic situations, we can develop unhealthy coping mechanisms. And again, this happens to the best of us. It is okay. So do not beat yourself up. This is normal. What we can do, and what the healthy and responsible thing to do, is to then do the work that it takes to shift them. To not just stay in that dysfunctional stuff, but to change it. So if you've already come to that point of awareness, you are taking the first step to changing it. Because as you know, there are lots and lots of people who have unhealthy relationship behaviors who have no awareness of the fact that their behavior is unhealthy. None. They don't want to be aware of it, or maybe they're aware of it, but they don't want to address it. So again, if you are in this place of awareness, this is amazing. Awareness is the first step to shifting it. So congratulations. It's sometimes one of the hardest things you can do. So again, if you have the awareness that you do have some behaviors that might need to shift, kudos to you. This is amazing, because it can sometimes be, as I said, uncomfortable to come to this realization. Number 2, the next most important thing that you can do here is to learn how to respond instead of react. So what does this mean? What this means is usually why we are reacting or behaving in an unhealthy way in a relationship is because we've been triggered, right? Something someone said upset us, or something someone did triggered our wounds, triggered our pain. And so we may have a pattern of lashing out or withdrawing or giving someone the silent treatment or name calling, whatever it is. We may have some specific pattern that we do that we react, okay? We get triggered and then we react. So how to shift this is when we're triggered, when something's happening, when we're in a conflict, we learn to pause. We just pause. We stop, take a breath, and just try to calm ourselves down. Now, this may take a different amount of time for everyone. For some people, it might take them 2 deep breaths, and they're good. They're good to then respond instead of reacting from that emotional place. For other people, it might take them a couple hours. Both of those scenarios are okay. I have been both those people at different points in my healing journey. Now, I can usually just take a breath or two and I'm okay, I can respond. But in the beginning, I needed a lot of time. So in those situations, when you're talking to someone, you can say, hey, when you're realizing, okay, like I'm really triggered here and I don't want to say something or do something that's really going to hurt this other person and damage the relationship, you can say, hey, to this other person, hey, I'm super triggered right now. Can I just take a few minutes or a couple hours, or can I just take tonight and calm down and just think about this, and can we talk about it tomorrow or in a couple hours? So you give yourself that space to allow the feelings to come up, whatever they are. You calm down, you figure out what you want to say, and you can even, this could be something where you write it down, write it in a journal, write it on a piece of paper so that you can remember what you want to say in a kind way, and then you come back to it when you feel ready, when things have calmed down. The next most important thing here to help us shift our own unhealthy behaviors is, you're probably not going to be surprised about what I'm going to say, but it's doing subconscious work, or really doing any type of healing work in general. Because one of the reasons we are tending to react and act in unhealthy behavior patterns is because we do have so many wounds from the past. So really, whatever you can do to help heal those wounds, to help calm those triggers down, is really going to help you shift these unhealthy behavior patterns. And I can share from my own experience, things that used to trigger me so much in the past, they don't anymore. And so there's no need for me to be reacting or to be acting in an unhealthy way. It's just fine now, So this is super important. And if you are interested in some of the subconscious work that I do, you are always free to message me. Click on the link in the video description, or you can comment here and I'll reach out to you. But this is what I specialize in. I absolutely love subconscious work. I have so much passion for it because it can be so transformational and life-changing. The next thing here, number 4, is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I talk about this a lot. Really, here's the thing. If you want to stay safe and comfortable, growth and change and healing are not for you. Anytime you go out of your comfort zone, anytime you shift a long-standing pattern, it's going to bring up fear, and it's probably going to bring up pain too. Because here's the thing. When we are reacting in these unhealthy ways, when we're lashing out, when we're giving the silent treatment, when we're withdrawing, we're reacting from a place of pain, and we're trying to not feel more pain, right? So when we pause, when we step back, when we shift these patterns, what happens? All our pain starts bubbling up that we've been trying to avoid by acting in these specific ways. When we stop giving the silent treatment, when we stop lashing out, what's left is our pain. What's left is our fear. What's left is our anxiety. All those things that those behaviors we're trying to suppress. We're trying to make our feelings go away. So it's going to be uncomfortable when you start to shift these things. And just know that this is the name of the game here. This is how it goes. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. And it's not like it's going to feel uncomfortable forever. It's going to feel uncomfortable temporarily until the new behavior becomes your comfort zone. Love, relationships, intimacy, vulnerability, these are all things that are going to bring up emotions. We're going to feel vulnerable at times when we do these things because, again, our unhealthy behaviors, our lashing out, our silent treatment, those were meant to try to protect us. So when we let our guard down, it's going to feel vulnerable. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but that's how you really create intimacy with someone. And full disclaimer here, this should only be done in the context of a healthy relationship, meaning your partner is someone who is safe to be with. Don't do this stuff in an abusive or toxic relationship. So it's gonna be uncomfortable at first, and just know that, and it's okay. Again, that's the name of the game. Any type of healing and any type of shifting of a long-standing pattern is uncomfortable. And that's why, when we talk about people who are abusive or, who we would consider toxic, that's why they don't change, because it is so deeply uncomfortable. And they would rather hurt lots of other people than to do the hard work of growth and change. The last thing that I can share with you to help you to shift your own unhealthy relationship behaviors is to learn as much as you can about what a healthy relationship does look like. Read books, watch videos, spend time around people who are in healthy relationships, get a mentor. All of these things will help you to have good models for what a healthy relationship looks like. That was the biggest thing for me because, I had been in so many toxic and unhealthy relationships that I truly did not know what it looked like. Like when I had a conflict, I really didn't know how to respond. I didn't know what to do. And that was where having a mentor came in so handy. Because books and videos are great, but it's so helpful to have someone that you can just bring a situation to that you're experiencing and say like, hey, this is what I'm going through. What do I do? How do I express myself here? Because the ideal here, the ideal scenario is we want to be able to express ourselves, how we're feeling, what our limits are, without attacking the other person. That's the ideal. We want to do it in a kind and respectful way. So again, having a mentor can be tremendously helpful, and also just learning what healthy relationship behaviors are, because healthy people who are healthy in a relationship, they want to be with another healthy person too. So if we want a healthy relationship, we not only have to know what to look for, we also have to be that person ourselves. We have to practice those behaviors. What I actually do for my clients is I give them very specific scripts. Like if they're having an issue with someone they're dating or someone they're in a relationship with, I can give you a very, very healthy way to express yourself, to resolve this thing, because very often we just don't know. We haven't had those models, and that's how it was for me. I just didn't know in the beginning when I was learning all this stuff. But with the help of my mentor and all of the work I did, I know it now. So now I can help all of you. All of that being said, I want to remind you guys that we're not looking for a perfect person here, because that doesn't exist. No one else is perfect, and we are not perfect ourselves. So we don't need to find perfection here. What we need to do is just continue on a daily basis to be aware of ourselves, to be aware of our behavior, and to be dedicated to changing it and improving it when need be, for ourselves and for the people that we're looking to be in a relationship with. So again, we do not need to be perfect. We do not need to be completely healed to be in a loving, healthy relationship. And we don't need the other person to be either. We just need them to be able to show up in a way where they can hold themselves accountable and make the changes that are necessary to have a healthy relationship.